Joining us now is Brent Cook, Senior Advisor to Exploration Insights. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, it's been a while. Good to see you.
We go way back. For those that don't know, I used to interview Brent all the time on BNN, on Market Call, so great to see you.
Thanks.
And I always liked having you on. You always had such an interesting perspective on the precious metals market. You travel all over the world, you see tons of mines. So let's pick up on a theme that from the show yesterday, where we were getting a sense that things are getting better in the precious metals sector, sentiment is better. How would you define it?
You know, I hate to agree with that sentiment, but I think it's actually accurate this time.
Okay.
And I know in Vancouver in January, it's always positive.
Right.
We'll see what happens the year. But so many things are lining up right now, on the macro and economic scale, as well as down to the, mining scale, that I think we're actually going to have a pretty good year this year and next year.
And so why is that? What are some of the factors?
Well, certainly the US dollar, I think, has peaked. Interest rates are going to stay low for a long time. Geopolitical issues are just, chaos. And I think we're seeing money from, cannabis and crypto, and as well as, the major funds looking at this sector and seeing there's been some wins. There have been some real wins. The sector's been down a while, and we're going to see money start moving in slowly. We're seeing it now, but I think we're going to continue to see it.
Interesting. All right, so people love ideas. Let's get straight to them. Some names that you either own or are sniffing around and looking at. Blackstone Minerals.
Yeah, that's one that Joe and I purchased in the Exploration Insights letter, which is what we do in there.
Right. Sorry, Joe is just
Joe Mazumder. He's the owner.
Right.
And writes the letter now, and I'm sort of the senior advisor, and we work together really well. But Joe's taken on all the hard work now.
Okay. All right.
I do good stuff.
All right.
Blackstone. It's an Australian listed company. They've picked up a nickel deposit in Vietnam, which is a nice deposit. It's growing, but what's interesting about it is they've got a memorandum of understanding with a Korean battery maker that wants to build batteries and electric vehicles in Vietnam. And if they can source the nickel from Vietnam, it avoids a whole bunch of tax issues and political issues, etc. So there's an offtake agreement and someone backing them to build this thing, and it's a good deposit. So I like the looks of that a lot.
Are they fairly early stage?
Well, they've got a resource drilled out. The thing was mined in the past on a small part of the deposit, and now they're going off to the major part of the deposit. And there's equipment there, there's a lot of infrastructure, so it's ready. They're drilling it out right now to see how big it really is, and they'll get together and put together some sort of scoping study, and then it's all go. I like the looks of it.
Okay, and it's strictly listed in Australia?
So far, just Australia.
Right. Okay.
BSX.
All right, very good. Next one is Liberty Gold here from Brent Cook. What do you like about those guys?
All right, so this is one we don't own in the letter, but just walking around here, and I know Idaho really well. They've picked up an old project, Black Pine, that was mined in the past, heap leach oxide, and they've expanded it massively. They don't have a resource yet, but I can see multi-million ounce potential there. It's massive. It's really interesting. They've reinterpreted the geology and found some much higher grade and extensive mineralization at depth. It's all oxide, so it'll be cheap to mine, cheap to process. The stock's done well, I would point that out, but it's a real discovery, and it's going to grow, so I like that.
All right, great stuff. And then you also have been looking at Bluestone Gold.
Yeah, that's in Guatemala. I was there last year, just after this show. Nice high-grade deposit, 10 grams, almost 1 million ounces. Lots of room to grow it. Being in Guatemala, it's not getting much attention because of problems that Pan American have had at Escobal, but I think that's going to be resolved, which will bring a lot more positive attention to Guatemala. And this deposit is a nice deposit. It hasn't been financed yet. They're in the financing process right now, I guess. But at 10 grams, it's a nice deposit, make good grade, and I think there's social issues don't really exist there. It's all cattle country. There's no indigenous, and the community's all on board. So it's a good setup.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and if you don't want to answer, it's fine. But I want you to go back to when you used to come on to Market Call with me, and give me one name that really worked out for you, and one name that you kind of went, that just didn't pan out as I thought. Can you think
probably the one that worked out the best was Reservoir Minerals.
All right.
That got bought out at $9, and it was a discovery in Serbia that we were into very early on. On the first drill hole, I recognized it was a big porphyry system. So that's probably the best one that worked out. In terms of failures, there's been quite a few. I suppose the one that was most frustrating was Golden Earth. What was it? I forget the name.
Oh, okay.
Just some mine anyway.
Yeah.
It was in New Zealand. They had a deposit, a project right next to Newmont. WKP, Glass Earth was what it was.
Okay.
WKP, and they just couldn't get the joint venture with Newmont drilling it out. Subsequent to that, and so they went to zero.
Right, okay.
But subsequent to that, Oceana bought the deposit next door, and they're drilling out the system that we knew was there.
All right.
And it's making big headlines, and they've got a fantastic new deposit where we knew it was, but the company just couldn't pull it off.
Right, and as you know, that happens all the time in investing. Things are out of your control, and certain factors happen, and then the story doesn't play out. But good to see you, Brent. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, Brent Cook, Senior Advisor at Exploration Insights.